Welcome to this final part of this video series. Thank you for sticking by, I really appreciate it. So this was the most trickiest bit of the entire project, I would say. It took me really long time to really figure this out, and I have to give big thanks to ChatGPT, who was really helpful to helping me figure these things out. So as we go through this part now, I'll quickly go through the pipeline execution steps. So we can see this one is also dependent on the Terraform pipeline, which was run prior to this one. We are using, so in this one, we're using a self-hosted agent. The big challenge that I had while I was using Microsoft hosted agent was because of its ephemeral nature, every time I would run a pipeline, I would be given a fresh agent running in the background. And whenever I try to establish this SSH passwordless connection with all my remote nodes, it was getting very complicated and very tricky. So running these scripts, this pipeline as a self-hosted agent, really simplifies things by a tremendous amount, and makes it quite stable as well. So I've created as you can see, this is my self-hosted agent, and I've installed the step-by-step process provided by Microsoft documentation, which you can follow and create your own self-hosted agent. So I've created one, and the name of my self-hosted agent I can maybe quickly try and show you in the pipelines. Agent pools, and I have an agent called default, which is it this one? Yeah, default. And agent right now, as you can see, the status is offline. If I say okay /run.sh, I'm turning on my self-hosted agent, and it should reflect on this page. Okay, listening for jobs online. Great. So our self-hosted agent is configured and up and running. Great. So let's go back to this pipeline now, and as you can see now here, that we are going to download the artifact which was published in our first pipeline, that was a build pipeline. So over here, I'm just telling what is the project. In this build pipeline, there's a name associated, and it gives a number to it. So I'm not going to make any changes in this, and artifact name, and then the target part to it. So in this, what we're going to do is we're going to run some script where I'm going to remove this target folder on my agent, on my self-hosted agent. I'm basically cleaning up my folder, Ansible files, because I am going to later on copy files from my repos to self-hosted agent, and these files are also very specific. The source folder, which is my repository, self-hosted Ansible, so which will be over here. We'll just go to the repository section. Self-hosted Ansible. So these are the files that will be copied to my self-hosted agent in the directory called Ansible files. And these are the steps that would be followed. So in my agent, my self-hosted agent, I'll be firstly activating the virtual environment, and then to the Ansible files, moving to the CD to the Ansible files, and then running fetch state file, parse IPs, add to known host. So the fetch state file is basically going to fetch my state file using a SAS token. Unfortunately, there's a problem with this one, that it's not a problem. I just need to blur this one that you can use key vault to basically pass these SAS token in this one, and you can basically access your remote state file from Azure and download it in this one, and you'll be able to later on pass this IP and create your dynamic inventory, which will be created in the format of Ansible all host and with separate for AWS, which will have username as Ubuntu, and for Azure, which will have username as admin user. After that, the steps were add to known host. This particular file is used to add these remote node IPs in my self-hosted agent's known host to the known host file in my home directory of my user. Because whenever I would be, if I run the pipeline, I would get a pop-up which will say, oh, do you recognize this? Do you know this? Do you ensure the authenticity of this IP, and would you like to add it to this host file? So that will add a manual step. So to get over this manual step, I have added this Python script to this Ansible pipeline. And once this everything is ready and set up, we'll be running our Ansible Playbook, which is going to run a deploy playbook YAML file, app deploy playbook on a dynamic inventory. So I'll also show you app deploy the YAML script over here, where we are basically saying deploy.NET application as a sudo user, ensure the directory exists on where www my app, and then unzip the install artifact that we had downloaded, and then copy the application artifact to the target machine. So we're going to copy the artifact to a self-host to the remote nodes from a self-hosted agent to remote nodes at this point, extract from the zip file, and then later on delete the zip file so it's clean, the folder is clean, and only have our application extracted form of it, and then install the .NET SDK version 8 on this remote nodes, and then finally running this application as a service in the background, because if we run it just maybe run with .NET run, it will run in the foreground, and then that will keep the terminal up when you're running the pipeline. Therefore, we'll be using as a service and running it in the background. And yeah, that's it. So I'll just quickly check now. We'll run the pipeline manually, and let's see, hopefully things go well. Okay, so as you can see in the self-hosted agent, it was listening for jobs. Here you can see running job. Great. So this kind of takes a few minutes, so I might also either pause this video and play it, once we have covered the things that are going well. Otherwise, I'll just maybe fast forward this video. So we are downloading the build artifact from the earlier published artifact from the build pipeline, and it is able to download it 2.1 MB in this pipeline now. Clean the target folder, copying files from the repository to a self-hosted agent now. Can also show you quickly in run this. The pipeline is running in the background, but I'm just showing you the dynamic inventory which will be created here. So if I say right now dynamic inventory.json, you can already see our Python scripts are run successfully, and this is the format in which it was created. So for AWS host 1 and 2, we've got the IPs and the admin, the username for it, and also for Azure. All right, so Playbook ran successfully on all the remote nodes, and it's still just waiting for the pipeline to complete. You can also see over here, job completed, result succeeded. We can now go to virtual machines on, so I'll just check one, maybe on AWS, copy the public IP, and port 5000. All right, so as I said, it's just a very basic web app, and this was on AWS, I suppose, and now just for Azure, similar thing. I'll just test it out. So as you can see, this was a very, for me, very interesting and a cool project where, of course, you can reduce the complexity of both the clouds, also save time, because doing these manual efforts will be a lot of effort. So for Azure, it's the find out now. Great. So this is for AWS and Azure, and then you can also have load balancer in front of this, and then balance it if you want to have both between both the cloud providers. But so far, this is the what we have. This was the complete workflow of the project. I'll be quickly running the destroy pipeline, and so everything is destroyed, and we don't have to incur any cost or anything. And yeah, so destroy pipeline takes usually 3 to 4 minutes, and it will vary depending on how big your infrastructure is. I won't make you wait for that, and just quickly run that. So yeah, I'll be more than happy to know about your feedback, and if you like it, if you think we learned anything from this project, please do let me know in the comment sections. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and yeah, I would love to learn if there's anything that really stood out for you. And do like the video. If you want to share with your friends, colleagues, please do so. And yeah, hit the subscribe button as well. And I hope to see you in the next video soon. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.